In 1964, child genius Frank attends the New York World's Fair to enter the Inventors competition. Judge Nix is initially impressed by Frank's prototype jetpack but changes his mind when Frank admits it doesn't work well. Nix's assistant, Athena, likes Frank but Nix still disqualifies him until the jetpack functions properly. Frank leaves heartbroken, recalling his dad's remarks about wasting his time. Suddenly, Athena approaches and gives him an orange lapel pin with a blue T, asking him to follow her, and Nix discreetly. Frank sneaks through a popular attractions sideline and jumps into an empty boat. During the ride, a laser detects Frank's pin, opening a trapdoor that leads the boat down a dark corridor. A futuristic-looking wagon appears, and Frank eagerly enters. However, metal blinds block all doors and windows, and the wagon shakes violently. Frank falls and only stands up when the wagon stops. As the doors open, he steps onto a foggy platform and is shocked to see a flying car with Athena and Nix inside. Frank tries to follow, but giant robots block his way. He dodges the robotic arms but falls onto a lower platform, breaking his jetpack. A friendly robot repairs the jetpack and returns it to Frank just as guards arrive to capture him. Frank activates the jetpack and finally flies. Thanks to the repairs, he flies through the fog and discovers Tomorrowland, a futuristic city for brilliant minds. Landing next to Athena, he shows Nix the fixed jetpack, but Nix ignores him. Athena takes Frank's hand, showing him his future life. Years later, in 2015, teenage Casey sabotages NASA machinery to prevent her dad, a NASA engineer, from losing his job. Athena watches from the shadows, scans Casey's DNA from her bike helmet, and codes it into her last Tomorrowland pin. The next morning, Casey's dad, Eddie, gets a call from work about the sabotage. Casey thinks she saved his job, but Eddie reveals they'll use replacement cranes and urges her to stop. Casey insists on keeping hope alive. That evening, Casey tries again, but gets arrested. Hours later, someone pays her bail. Among her belongings, she finds the pin, and when she touches it, she sees a vision of another place. The pin falls, and touching it again, she sees the same vision. Grabbing the pin properly, she sees a distant city, but walking toward it makes her bump into things in the room. To avoid trouble, she picks up the pin using a gum wrapper. Eddie arrives to pick her up and scolds her. She makes him touch the pin, promising it will explain everything, but nothing happens when he does. Confused, Casey touches the pin herself, realizing it only works for her. Frustrated, Eddie takes the pin away. At home, Casey waits for Eddie to fall asleep, then steals the pin back. Touching it, she appears in the other world, but walking toward the city causes her to bump into walls and fall down the stairs, waking Eddie. Casey hides, deciding to try elsewhere. She goes to a large field, touches the pin, and finally appears in Tomorrowland. While taking the train to go further into the city, Casey discovers the pin has a countdown timer and realizes that nobody can see her. She leaves the train at the next stop and notices some important scientists entering a different kind of wagon. She tries to follow them, but water suddenly appears around her as the pin's timer nears zero. Casey pushes through the water, but Tomorrowland vanishes, leaving her in a swamp. Back home, she wakes her brother Nate and asks for their dad's computer password. They search online and find an ad from a store willing to buy these pins. Casey writes down the address and asks Nate to tell their father she's camping with friends. In the morning, Athena arrives at the house, and Nate gives her the camping excuse. Sensing he's lying, Athena pressures him until he confesses. Meanwhile, Casey reaches the shop from the ad. The eccentric clerks confirm Tomorrowland is real, a place where the brightest minds create freely without government and greed, accessible only with the pin. They want to buy the pin and learn its source, but when Casey refuses, they lock the door and reveal plasma weapons. Casey hides among the merchandise, but the clerks demand information about a girl. Suddenly, a grenade crashes through the window, freezing the clerks in a force field. Armed, Athena enters, explaining it's a time bomb, then helps Casey escape. When the bomb shuts off, the clerks are freed and counterattack. Athena and Casey fight them off, and Casey is shocked to discover the clerks are animatronics. Athena announces the animatronics are about to self-destruct, then drags Casey out just before the explosion. Athena breaks into a car, pushing Casey inside and starting it with a special tool, explaining they need to escape quickly. On the road, Casey asks questions, and Athena reveals she gave Casey the pin. Athena then begins malfunctioning, and Casey watches in horror as Athena repairs herself, revealing she is also an animatronic. Scared, Casey jumps out of the car, and Athena follows, only to be hit by a truck. The driver checks on her, giving Casey a chance to steal the truck. However, Athena recovers quickly, chasing the truck, stealing the keys, and locking the door. Casey yells until Athena confirms Casey is her last pin and they must return to Tomorrowland because of something dangerous they built. Meanwhile, the cops at the exploded store find a burned robot head. Dave, who claims to be Secret Service, arrives, kills the cops with a futuristic weapon, and tells his companions to inform NYX they've found the girl. Casey and Athena head to New York to find someone who can get them back to Tomorrowland. Casey asks about others with pins, but Athena can't answer and shuts down. The next morning, Athena wakes up, takes over driving, and tells Casey to rest. She mentions they're visiting Frank, and as Casey sleeps, Athena reminisces about past times with him. Hours later, Casey wakes up as she's pushed from the truck in front of a countryside house. Seeing Athena drive away, Casey approaches the house, only to be chased by a guard dog. She trips in the mud and realizes the dog, named Prince, is a hologram. Ignoring the fake beast, Casey knocks on the door and shows her pin to the camera, asking to be taken to Tomorrowland. A sudden burst of air pushes her back, and an older Frank steps out, demanding to know where Athena is. When he hears she's gone, he angrily tells Casey to leave, saying Tomorrowland is a manipulative lie, and locks himself inside. Casey refuses to leave and waits outside in the rain. Eventually, she gets tired and devises a plan. By starting a fire on the plying truck, she forces Frank to leave the house to put out the flames. While he's distracted, Casey runs inside and locks the door. When Frank tries to re-enter, she pushes him back with the same burst of air. Casey explores the house, finding all sorts of crazy inventions. One machine plays a record of young Frank trying to make Athena laugh, with her telling him to stop. In another room, she finds numerous screens monitoring the news and a timer counting down. Suddenly, a secret door under the stairs opens, and Frank re-enters, ready to kick Casey out. She convinces him to give her some answers. Frank reveals he was expelled from Tomorrowland for building something he shouldn't have the timer connected to the screens. He asks Casey if she'd want to know the date of her death, and she says yes, but explains that accepting such a fate could make it happen, so she believes in making her own destiny. This causes the percentage on the screen to drop, impressing Frank. Their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of Dave and his agents, who are actually robots searching for Casey. Frank activates all the metal blinds, and when a robot forces her way inside, he electrocutes her with a tool. Another robot is destroyed by an electrical trap on the wall, and Frank eliminates two more with a secret trapdoor. Frank and Casey run to the living room, where another robot awaits. They fight it off together, using a special portal machine to trap the robot. They head upstairs, where more robots fall into various traps, until Dave catches up and holds Frank at gunpoint. Casey finds a bat and beats Dave until he's incapacitated. Frank drags Casey into the bathroom, and they jump into the tub, which transforms into a capsule. A robot tries to grab them, but Frank launches the capsule, which flies out and lands in the lake. Frank and Casey swim to shore and enter the woods, where Frank has hidden a bike that won't start. Suddenly, a light approaches. It's Athena, here to pick them up. The trio leaves in the truck, and Frank and Athena begin arguing. It's revealed all pins were supposed to be destroyed, but Athena capped the last box of 12 to continue recruiting people. Frank is furious. More young people are being dragged into this and tells Casey that Athena lied. She doesn't shut down if you ask too many questions. She just ignores you. Frank accuses Athena of faking emotions to lure and then abandon people. Hurt, Athena ignores this and takes them to the local station where Frank has a secret network transmitting to his house. There, they find another capsule. Once properly protected, they activate the system that teleports them away. They arrive at the top of the Eiffel Tower. Frank uses a tool to knock out the guard at the door. Inside a room with an exhibition of famous inventors, Frank explains that Eiffel, Bern, Tesla, and Edison started Tomorrowland, using the Eiffel Tower as an antenna to reach the other world. After searching around, Frank activates the secret entrance. The Eiffel Tower splits in two, revealing a rocket. The trio hurries inside as more robots try to capture them. The rocket's energy expels the robots, and after flying up, it opens a portal as it falls at great speed. Moments later, the group arrives in Tomorrowland. The authorities saw them fall and are coming after them, so Frank makes Athena hide a special bomb inside her body. The first to meet them is NYX, the city governor, who wants to arrest them. Frank and Athena quickly change his mind by informing him that Casey lowered the percentage on the screens. Shocked, NYX takes them to the headquarters where they keep Frank's dangerous invention, the taking machine. In the elevator, Casey sees holograms of future flashes caused by the machine, which uses a particle that moves faster than light. They enter the machine's center, and Frank teaches Casey how to use it, allowing her to view any point in humanity's history. Casey is shocked to see herself at home a few mornings ago, and Frank explains the machine can also look forward. Casey speeds through history until she discovers the issue. The machine predicts the world will end in 58 days. Casey doesn't understand why they aren't warning Earth, and NYX explains he doesn't care because it's Earth's problem, not Tomorrowland's. He refuses to let anyone move in, fearing they'll ruin Tomorrowland, as they did Earth. Casey's attitude causes the screen to flicker, showing a better world. Frank points out this proves there's a chance, but NYX knocks them all out. Moments later, Frank wakes up to Athena saying they'll be deported. Casey is depressed, feeling the adventure was pointless, and snaps at Frank, accusing him of lying. As she rants, she realizes Frank has been pirating the machine signal to watch it at home. This signal is spreading doom ideas, becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. If Casey's optimism could change it, turning it off might let people see hope again. Guards arrive to deport them through a portal. Casey tells NYX about her discovery and asks him to turn off the machine, but NYX says there's no off button. Frank realizes NYX is purposefully putting these ideas in people's heads. NYX explains that trying to warn the government about impending doom was ignored, so he sent the idea directly to people's heads, hoping to prompt change. Instead, humanity accepted the end as inevitable. NYX blames humanity, not the machine. Frank pretends to agree and shakes Nyx's hand to touch his bracelet, restarting the machine platform. Athena and Casey knock out the guards while Frank fights NYX, who activates two robots to go after the girls. Frank asks Athena to use the bomb, but the robots catch her. Athena passes the bomb to Casey while fighting the robots. Casey runs to the platform, which shakes as Frank and NYX struggle over the bracelet. Athena controls one robot to push the other through the portal, making it attack NYX. Casey activates the bomb by seeing a future flash, but as she's about to throw it, NYX regains control of the bracelet and drags the platform down. Athena catches the platform with her robot, then closes the portal, destroying the second robot and leaving Frank and NYX outside. Casey finds the bomb about to explode. Athena reopens the portal, and the men run back inside, throwing the bomb into the portal to explode away from them. The portal breaks and falls on NYX, trapping him. He reaches for a nearby gun to kill Frank. Seeing Frank's impending death in a future flash, Athena runs to take the shot herself. Casey takes the gun from NYX, and Frank tries to take Athena to a repair shop, but she asks him to stop because there's not enough time. Before she dies, Athena needs Frank to know something very important. She plays a series of recordings from their time together years ago. Young Frank had a crush on Athena, but he was hurt when he realized she was a machine. This always bothered Athena, and she kept voice diaries describing how Frank made her feel things that robots shouldn't. Frank is touched to learn that Athena liked him too and never stopped believing in him. Now, it's time for Athena to go. Her body is about to self-destruct, and she wants them to use the explosion to stop the machine. Frank uses a jetpack to fly Athena up, and after they say their goodbyes, Athena is dropped into the machine. The entire structure explodes, and debris falls on NYX, killing him. Tomorrowland loses power, and Frank tries to control the jetpack to land safely in the river. Casey rushes to check on him, and as they talk about what to do next, a series of future flashes gives them an idea. First, Frank fixes the portal so Casey can reunite with her family. Then, together they work on restarting the PIN program, building a new batch of robots like Athena. These robots use a portal to travel the world and leave pins for bright minds who can help create a better future for Earth. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching this.